out there? Welcome to another episode of the Holy Hour Podcast, the All Cure Podcast. Hi, guys.
The only
Hey. This is Gavin, and I'm joined by...
Donald, man.
And Chaz. Yeah, we're joined by the whole crew tonight. Chaz has been kind enough to join us for this episode. We are doing the official review, revisited, of Wish from 1992. Very pivotal Cure album, and thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, no problem.
Yes, Chaz. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And Chaz is the first guest on an album podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a new
It's
historic
groundbreaking.
moment. Yeah, it's a welcome, and thanks for joining us.
I feel honored.
You should. I don't do this shit with just anyone.
Right on. But as diehard listeners would note, we actually did a Wish one way back early on, Donald and I, when we were first kind of trying out the idea of this show. It was episodes 7 and 8. And this goes
two-parter.
all the way back to January 2016. And I think even with like the first up to 20, we were kind of just testing the waters. Like, I don't know, we'll probably just crank a few of these out and that'll be it, and we'll be done, and nobody will notice and we won't notice, and it'll be done. And here we are in the 80s now, and
no one notices.
and nobody notices, but for some reason we're still doing it. But yeah,
We have not come so far.
we have not. So it's more of that, like, we'll try this one more time. Let's just go through all the albums again and see if but yeah, so this is
That'd be awesome.
We figured, and that would be a great reason to have Chaz join in and share his
Yeah,
ideas
totally.
this time, because technically Donald and I have already hashed this out, even though we feel like even back in 2016 now it's kind of dated thoughts, and especially Donald will have a completely different opinion of this album, I'm assuming.
And Chaz actually likes this record.
Oh,
a
I love
lot,
this
so
record.
Yeah?
I think
Yeah.
I might just sit back and listen to you two.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a fan of this one. I'm on board for Wish.
I wouldn't give you that. Jesus.
And I don't know. I thought Donald would even be like kind of on the ropes, right? Yeah, at least they're buried in sentimental value on it, right? You wouldn't say it's a
Oh, yeah, I'm on the
full-on
ropes. Yeah.
negative Cure
you're
album,
right.
are you? So, okay, so we
No,
can
you're right.
persuade him. We gotta.
Yeah.
I think the tougher battles with Donald lie ahead, but we'll see. I think you'll
Mm-hmm.
still probably get our blood boiling here, so it's good to have someone on my side over here. But we'll
it.
try
I
not to
love it.
gang up. And yeah, we thought it'd be fun too to we don't have any direct quotes or any. Well, maybe some direct quotes, but we're gonna pull up maybe some things to refresh Donald of what he said, because early on in those episodes, it was one of the very first times, because we had recorded a few, but you hadn't really given any harsh perspective, and this was the first one. While editing it, I was like, oh my God, Cure fans are nuts. They're not going to go for this, man. They're going to crucify this dude. And I was very weary while editing it. I was like, should I leave this in, man? He's trying to say that this
Am I about to be shunned in the Cure
I
fan
was
community?
we're going to get blacklisted by episode 9, you know?
I'll get kicked off that Tumblr.
I don't know, man. So I was worried, but we went with it, and here we are. Still here. Nobody cares. But so yeah, and I do apologize listening back to the early ones myself. I do have to note that at the end of the first part of Wish, there's a horrific edit where the music just comes in super loud and is dreadful. And I can fix it, but I don't want to fix it right now, because if it refreshes, it's going to look like it's a current episode. So sorry, anybody out there, and it will be fixed. But any of that disclaimer is done, but sorry about the unprofessionalism of the original versions. This one's gonna be way tighter, as you can tell already. So should we transport? You guys ready to dive in?
I'm about to transport.
All right, here he goes. Liftoff, 1992. April. We like to kind of, and then the original episodes we really touched on that. Donald and I were in our freshman year of high school then, so that was a crucial year for everyone, I think, and us in particular just happened. Where were you at, Chaz? A few years back, you were probably
92, I was 11.
Okay, so what is that, 7th grade?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to add it all up.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Somewhere in there, but that's cool.
Now I'm depressed because I'm old.
Yeah, woo. But so yeah, this was a big deal for us in the sense too of like we were waiting for this album. I'd been a fan for about 5 years, I guess, at that point. Donald probably about 4, and it would be our first show on that tour. So we go into all details of that. Yeah, it's our first, not our first shows, but our first Cure show, I guess. And maybe your first show, Donald. Was that?
Yeah, it was my
your
first
first
show.
actual show? Cool.
Like legit one.
Yeah,
I saw some dumb shit.
So,
like
like
I saw like I saw a thrash band at some kids like
teen
like high
center.
school. Yeah, teen center.
Yeah. You didn't see like the Kokomo Beach Boys at a pavilion or anything like that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. But cool. So yeah, it was very
Oddly
crucial era for us, and coming off a Cure history, start going into some quick backstory of the Cure going into Making Wish. It was a 3-year gap from Disintegration between then and like new material, which is a pretty good chunk of time, but like something we've all become used to as Cure fans from about this era on. Like, but this was like the first time there was that long of a stretch between original ones, but they filled it up much better than they normally do because they had like Entreat and then Mixed Up, so it didn't really feel like there was that much downtime, I guess, or maybe I had no concept of time as a kid then, but so yeah, but it was a long wait and very anticipated, and yeah, I don't know. As we stated a lot in the Mixed Up episode, some shifts in the band happened. Roger was definitely out by this point, and Perry is in. And Perry didn't really, get a chance to really do too much on Mixed Up, obviously, because it was just, the 2 new songs. But so this will be the first new album with Perry, who's going to be the first time that they have a 3rd guitarist and also taking over the keys. So that's pretty cool and fits with the idea of Wish is a pretty much just from the top, we can say a more guitar heavy album, or just a guitar influenced album as opposed to coming off the heels of Disintegration, which is very synth heavy, right? So,
right.
So yeah. So how do you feel about Perry? Let's do a quick, were you excited about that idea as a kid and now? How do you think the dynamic shift, you guys?
I love Perry.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only reason, like, he got to where he is because he seems like such a nice, like, normal guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a large part of like getting ahead in life is just being like chill to hang out with.
Yeah.
And like not be a jerk.
Yeah.
And like not discrediting his playing because he could shred, but he just seems like a nice like whatever. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll play guitar. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, cool. Well, he's cool. He's normal. Like, why don't we just get him on guitar?
Yeah, I mean,
and like, I've always loved Perry because of that. He's just like a roadie dude, like a tech guy.
mm-hmm.
And they're like, do you want to be in the band? He's like, all right.
Yeah, it seems like there's no stories of anybody being like, Perry was a dick to me at the show.
Fucking asshole. Yeah.
Just like everyone seems to have like a great Perry experience if they met anybody in the band or anything like that. So
yeah,
he seems, and even
like
just
good for him.
Yeah, and even just the segue of that and his role in the band is coming off the heels too of officially first new album with not having the whole Lowell mess at that point. And
yeah,
and at this time,
he's like, fuck, am I the new Lowell?
Yeah. So I mean, it definitely seemed like he was a lot funner to have around than the later days Lowell at that point. So yeah, just some of the early recording stories of like how he's the goof in the band, doing this and that in the studio, and I was like, wow, that had to have been so much funner than just having like sad Lowell on the couch,
some morose out like drunk guy.
Yeah, so I was just like, ooh, but
I did a wee bit of coke.
Yeah, so and along those lines, timeline wise too, they said that was kind of the horrible negative vibe going on before they officially go into the studio to start the Wish sessions. Was when Lowell officially announced that he was going to sue him, and so that was like kind of looming already at that point. The whole court case was going to happen, and so they were gearing up for that, and this was kind of an escape for them. So in September 91, they go to Shipton Manor, which they also just called The Manor, in Oxfordshire countryside.
Oxfordshire?
Is owned by Richard Branson, the Virgin Mega whatever dude, the teeth. I think he's got like big teeth.
So that's why it sounds like it does.
Yeah. So yeah, crazy massive mansion. They were there for like 7 months apparently, and
So
just
fucking
places.
British and decadent.
Yeah,
Like 7 months in like a manor,
velvet
like a beautiful
curtains,
fucking. Yeah, like
murals everywhere.
I would have stayed there a fucking year.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. They're just milking it for all that good. But,
and the label's like, okay,
sure, fucking. Yeah.
Like, how much money did that have to fucking cost? That's so decadent.
I don't know. Yeah, it must have been insane, but you know, at least it's a fairly reliable band. It's not like you were throwing Limp Biscuit in there. They're like, all right, boys, let's see what you got.
Yo, I'm setting up my turntables in the parlor. I'm
Yeah.
only fucking scratching at sunset.
Totally.
Lavender hour, boy.
At least you'll know you'll get something out of the band. You know?
Yo, I just fucked 2 girls in the second kitchen.
Like, if we have to bury one more hooker, I swear this whole thing is canceled.
Garden's beautiful.
Yeah, so much open fields. But yeah, apparently there was a weird ass ceiling mural too of like Bono and Boy George and other pop stars. And one of the wacky Perry stories was that Perry like by the end snuck out there and like repainted a new hairdo on Phil Collins and stuff and cracking people
That's dope.
up. Yeah, just like
He filled in Phil Collins. Like,
yeah, did all
that's
kinds of-
what's up. Perry's dope.
So yeah,
man.
it sounded like he was the fun one there. Lots of rowdy fun. He'd set off fireworks every evening out in the fields while Robert would just like do all his vocals or something. He just had to hang out and do all the sad work in the studio.
He's like, hey, Robert's on acid and singing. I'm going to light off some
yeah, let's go light up
fireworks.
some fireworks.
Blow his mind.
So it sounded pretty on par with the Kiss Me sessions, even though it wasn't quite as rowdy, but still. Oh, the other fun fact was, and there's some good math you guys can help me with, 150 plus bottles of wine. This is all kind of cited from the Never Enough book, but 150 plus bottles of wine per week, it said. Whoa.
Damn.
Week.
Yeah. So I tried to do the math on that, and I rounded it
Wine
down
math.
to roughly 30 bottles per person if you divided it equally, which would be about 4+ bottles a day, which doesn't seem absurd, but every day for 7 months, yeah, it's pretty.
But is that just the band, or is that the whole crew?
Yeah,
had a
maybe the
bunch of
whole crew.
dudes, like-
Yeah, so they said band, but they didn't really go into specifics. Yeah,
It's still impressive, nonetheless. Like, I respect.
yeah, they definitely were getting their money's worth there. So, and that's without Lowell too. So you know you could like, oh, you know.
Robert was like, I'm drinking for 2.
Yeah,
You know, like with Lowell being on.
technically they could have doubled that number. That's terrible. But so anyway, the approach of the album is clearly it's going to be more guitar heavy. They said even the baggy scene was kind of fading out by this point, and shoegaze stuff was starting to emerge, but he was never full on admitting that influenced the sound too much, even though he loves all those bands.
Yeah.
There was a direct quote. He said, I definitely think if we had these songs back when we recorded Disintegration, it would have been a totally different record, kind of citing shoegaze. You know, he was just a big enough fan of, you know, Ride and My Bloody Valentine and Lush and stuff.
Just like fucking tons of like fucked up guitars.
Yeah, so I think it kind of goes without saying. But yeah, so that's pretty much the recording process. It wasn't too like wacky as far as the stories like from Lowell's book of the Kiss Me sessions where it got just totally out of control. But seemed like they're having good, getting a little older, fun, you know, just clearing out the wine cellar. But otherwise, it
Was he like 32 at this point?
yeah, probably. Yeah, I think he was.
I
yeah,
forgot to
it's
look
like-
up how old he was.
Yeah, we're usually always harping on that, but I guess yeah, after Disintegration was 30, so yeah, about 32, 33 probably. So still a young boy.
He's like in his early 30s, and he's just like, I'm a mature bloke,
Yep.
and can record a record on an estate. I'm into shoegaze. Have you heard of this? Good for him.
Yeah. So and it did great. It debuted at #1 in the UK when it was finally released on Robert's birthday. Oh yeah, I did right. His 33rd birthday. It actually was released on his 33rd birthday.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it came out #1 in UK album-wise, #2 in the US. And I remember having that old MTV video clip where he was real mad. He's like, because it was right behind Def Leppard. He's like, I really wish it had been #1 because I hate Def Leppard. I hate them even more now.
I remember
that. So he just full on said he hates Def Leppard. That's awesome. But yeah, that's pretty good. It debuted too on the Billboard charts in the U.S. It like dropped like immediately after that, But
totally.
But it's still pretty rad and went on to sell like 1 million
All the kids
copies
were like
first month.
pumping Letter to Elise in their cars.
Hell yeah, hell yeah! It was everywhere. I remember just.
No, it wasn't.
As far as our eyes, it was everywhere. Like the people we hung out with, but yeah, I mean, I remember it was like the first time like getting like a Rolling Stone and seeing like ads for it and shit, and like the little free magazines you'd get at the tape stores. They'd have like
be like, damn, they're on the front page. I still have like a pile
like
of those.
Request magazine or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Some cheap shit, But that's it. And most of the reviews were pretty positive right out of the gates at that point. Of course, after Disintegration, nobody's gonna shit on it at this point in their career. They're just gonna love everything. It was like Rolling Stones, like we've always loved these guys, 4 stars all the way. But,
no, you didn't.
Yeah. but I don't know. Maybe we should cite back to our first interpretations or perceptions of the album. Do you remember the first time you heard it, Chaz? Like, what was your reaction? And where did it fit in with other ones that you had heard at that point?
First, I gotta say that I think that episode was the first time that I emailed you because I was so pissed off with Donald's reactions.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yes, this is the perfect podcast. God damn it.
Yeah.
I can't find the email anywhere. I tried looking for it, but I think that was the first time I ever messaged you about it.
Yeah, I should look it up.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this guy.
Like, what is with this dude? Does he even like The Cure? I can't tell. That was like the bottom line message as I was like re-listening to it. I was like, Donald was very conflicted because he was just like, I mean, I love it. I listened to it forever, but it's just not a good album. Kind of shit. I'm like, what?
No.
So you're very conflicted.
No, I remember
You're
Gavin
going
like
back and
even
forth.
forwarded me that email, and I was just like, damn. I'm like, he's fucking right. Like,
it's like, how dare he? But
I just remember not being very happy with Donald at that point.
Definitely made some enemies that one.
So the first time I heard the album was the early 2000s, so maybe like 2000, 2001. And
Okay.
I remember just falling in love with it from the start to the most there's a couple songs in there I don't really like, but Letter to Elise is one of the best songs I think they ever wrote, and there's a couple songs here and there that are just near and dear to my heart, but I still think it's a perfect follow-up to Disintegration.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was definitely loved from first listen. I was like super worried about it, like being like in that position where I knew that I was probably going to make myself like it no matter what it was at that age and level of fandom early on and stuff, but I really didn't want to have to like defend it to people and stuff, so I was like ugh. But I was very relieved when I heard it and a bit surprised with the guitar-y stuff, because I wasn't quite aware that all that was kind of coming back more, is like just the sound in general. So I was kind of like, I really like the keys. I hope that this isn't all just fucking shredding guitars and stuff. But yeah.
So Chaz, what was your favorite like what were you big on, like your favorite Cure shit before you listened to Wish? Your favorite Cure record or whatever?
Well, I mean Disintegration, but then Kiss Me Kiss Me Kiss Me was probably my favorite record besides Disintegration.
Did Wish dethrone any of these?
It all depends on what's going on at the in my life at that point in time. But there was a solid chunk of a few years where besides Disintegration it was like my favorite album by them for for a couple of years, and then everything gets switched around. If you would have asked me like five years ago, I probably would have said it was number 2 or number 3, and then now
me too.
Yeah, now I'd probably put it at number 6, probably
Ooh.
5 or 6 maybe. So
Yeah. No, totally. And I think like it's silly to stand on like any one like principle or record, or just like you could apply it to like any aspects of your life. It's just like, nope, this is it. This is how it's done. Never change my mind.
Yeah.
Like it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's
like
good to finally
shifts,
like
man.
like I feel like I never really lost any drastic love for it, but at the same time you start to see some cracks in the armor and the sentimental value wears off a little bit, and it's not even a knock against it or anything, but it's just kind of like, oh yeah, and then other things grow on you more and other albums. So
Like when's the last time you sat down and were like, I'm gonna listen to Wish front to start?
today.
I know, me too. Like
Research aside, or like just but
like I know, but I was laughing. That's what made me laugh, because I actually went and got the CD.
Yeah.
The CD I bought when I was a young boy, and
Yeah.
was like, this album's the fucking best. and it skipped on Letter to Elise. And it really fucked me up.
the one song you like on the album.
I know. The irony, time, fuck you. But
yeah, I listen to it
but
pretty regularly.
literally, when's the last time you put it on non-research related? Because I couldn't. It's been fucking like a decade
Really?
Whoa.
Surprising.
since I like.
Even for me.
Oh no, slap on Wish. I literally can't think of the last time I like listened to it front to back.
Wow.
The last time was
Yeah.
when Gavin sent me that. What did you send me? Those.
The music for dreams,
Yeah,
lost wishes, all
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Because I remember I was listening to that at the baseball practice for my son, and I was just like, I'm gonna go back and listen to Wish, and I listened to the whole thing, while he was practicing, and it comes on. I don't know, once every couple months I'll listen to it from front to back.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
You're like making breakfast, like hooking eggs, and you're like fucking doing the unstuck. Shit,
I love that song.
Yeah.
Damn, really?
Well, let's save it
We
for
are
the
gonna
track by
fight.
track, guys. But it's funny you said "Kiss Me," Chaz, because that was kind of my initial that I kind of wrapped up was my main point of the other episodes. But something I still kind of stand by was that Wish feels like a little bit more of a condensed "Kiss Me." Like if
absolutely.
you take
Yeah.
the next step, and that's why I loved it and probably called it my favorite for a long time too, because as a kid I always loved like the mood and the everything about Kiss Me, but sometimes it was a little too much, and I was like, oh, this is like a just cut the fat off of Kiss Me and you got this perfect
Like slap some distortion guitars on all these songs,
Yeah.
and it's like a little more like approachable for a young kid.
yeah.
You're just
Well, I
like,
just like that
all
it
these
was
fucking guitars.
Well, I love that
And
it was
Kiss Me's a little
versatile
more nuanced
and like
delicate.
Well, I like that it had like the songwriting dynamics of like it has the super sad songs and it has like the super fun ones, and it's just like because as much as I love Disintegration, it's like not the funnest album all the time, so it's kind of nicer to have an album that you can just
Yeah.
kind of put on and be like, yeah, that's a great sad song. Oh yeah, that's a great fun song too. So.
Because like you tying into Kiss Me makes sense. Like, because I was listening to it today, my inaugural listen or whatever. Like, was it every? I don't know, but
Not inaugural. yeah.
the frivolity, is that a word? It was like
Sure, man.
like of like where like Kiss Me was very dramatic, and there'd be like little overdubs of little like woo kind of things, and like little sounds and little lyrical things and like vocal things, and there's a lot of that in Wish, with like Friday I'm in Love and doing the Unstuck, and like it was a little more frivolous, like in some parts, and I can see that tie to Wish. That makes sense. I was thinking that today.
I think,
and it's weird.
Go
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think that you can, from Kiss Me to Wish, you could take some songs on Wish and you could totally envision them during the time of like Kiss Me or even Disintegration, where if they would have written them at the time, I think they would have fit perfectly. Like I think High would probably fit perfectly on Kiss Me, and then something like To Wish Impossible Things would be probably fit perfectly on Disintegration. So I think the flow of all three albums, you could pull and pick and replace, and it would still be just as good.
Yeah.
Totally, dude. And if you listen to like the demos or whatever, or like the Lost Wish shit, like there were a bunch of songs on that where I was like, this is like disintegration shit just on like guitars.
Yeah.
Like nice like chunky delayed guitars and swirly bits on guitars, and it's just like it's like a melding, a meshing of like a big time period, like
totally. I hear crickets, man.
Yeah, I hear crickets too. Are you outside?
I'm outside. I'm outside.
Are you on the fucking roof? I closed all my windows in here. I'm burning up.
Contemplating life and thinking about the cure.
Anyway,
like some
sorry to break the flow,
teen
but I
in
did
an '80s movie. Like Stephanie's asleep on the other side of the window.
Yeah,
like my wife.
Think about fucking open. It's called open. But all right, sorry to break the flow,
dude.
but
I actually writ down. I actually have a whole open. Open.
Yeah, and sorry if I cut you
goof.
short, because if you said the same rant last time, I might cut you off. But I'll keep you. But yeah, maybe we should just go into some track by tracks, because I have a feeling we're gonna have a lot to say on each song here. So you down with that?
It's fine.
All right.
I'm down.
Oh, well, what better way to open an album than with Open? What do you think? Not Donald. Chaz, what do you think? This, in fact, was one going back to Donald's where he just went ape shit on Open and End, just to give a few disclaimers of like madman ranting about like all kinds of shit that didn't make any sense to me. And maybe I'll just get those out of the way first for some direct quotes from Donald of
Do it.
you were saying that you bashed it pretty hard. You hated him rambling so much with the lyrics, and you said it was too literal, even though I finally convinced you that if he hadn't told you what it's about, you probably wouldn't really know exactly what it's about. But then you said he's just rambling like a bunch of crap like Bob Dylan. I'm like, most people would consider Bob Dylan a pretty good lyricist, man. I don't know why you're being
really
so
like
harsh
Bob
on him.
I really like a little Bob Dylan stuff. Like, Robert Smith's not a rambling man. And he's a rambling man in this song. Just scooting through a party like, hey, dude, what's over there? And I'm going to do the line, man. And that's not Robert Smith. Like, I guess it is. I mean, he wrote the fucking song. Fucking meandering asshole like every other guy in the party. Like, I feel awkward.
Yeah,
people are stressing me out.
But that's better than a wrangling man. He's feeling awkward. That's like the tension and the whole point of the song. But anyway, so you were real anti that and but,
Anti everything.
Yeah, you came out harsh on this one. I think it was just coming out of the gates. You wanted to put your stamp of uneasiness on it and then close it back up with End. But so I don't know. Has your opinion changed in the 2 years or so since?
A little bit. I was looking. I'm looking at my pre-podcast notes, and I wrote "open." Dumb name. Okay. Good opener.
Okay, and so you were cool with it. It's just the name.
For End, I put clever name.
Dumb song.
Nope, just clever name.
Okay, so you don't like.
That's my take on these songs now.
Okay.
But I really did get down with Open.
So you weren't
like when I listened to it today. Like I like the swing of it.
Yeah, the guitars are doing some cool shit. It's some very like I mean, as much as you
it sets a mood.
Yeah, I'd say of all the songs, I mean, anything that taps into the shoegaze world, technically, that would be the closest, wouldn't you? I mean,
totally, absolutely. A little swirly guitar bit, I really like. Yeah. I was getting down on Open.
There you go. You've come so far.
But still a stupid name.
Yeah, so you just don't like the name.
Giving up that. I'm not giving up the Open and End aspect.
Well, why not? Clearly, it's intentional. I mean, it'd been weirder if that was like Open and then.
It's nothing but intentional.
That's what I mean. So
like, it's so fucking literal. It gets on my tits.
Okay.
Like, Open End, like clever. That hasn't been done 1,000 times.
I fucking love the name.
But the songs are fine. I like the song. Like,
cool.
But I don't know.
All right.
That's it.
So I guess that's pretty good compared to the last one. So I'm not gonna egg you. I'm not gonna egg you on. Then we'll sacrifice the name. Sure, why not? What do you think, Chaz? Is this a good one to come barreling out with?
Absolutely. The song, I love the name of the song too. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Shut up.
I love that it starts off. It'd be different if it was like the title of the song was, number one or first song on the album or something like that. But
how could you take that more literal?
But at the same time, when they went on tour in 2016, when they played at Merriweather, that was a song that they opened with, and then they ended. I think they ended on End.
Yeah.
Before the encores. So I think it was a the bread to the sandwich is good. So
yeah, you gotta bookend that shit. The only thing that in hindsight now, and even something we didn't really mention with the Music for Dreams and different ways of, we'll get into any possible variations of this album, but Tape is such a cool opener when they do it live.
Yeah.
I wonder, because then that was just on that little sideshow thing and then the opener for Show, but it was recorded in those sessions, I'm assuming, so that might have been a cool way to just have like they'll stream that into, have it be part of Open even, but
Tape was kind of dope.
yeah, I love that little intro,
but I do like the swing of like starting a show with Open. Like it's a very good show starter song. Like it really like sets a mood. Like,
yeah, it's good.
I don't know.
I love it, and it's not like a song that like has like a clear title. It's not like he's saying something over and over. It had to be the title, but then they just chose Open to be, wacky. It's like it needed a name that wasn't in the song anyway. You couldn't really call the song anything that he's saying that much. Can't really name it The Way the Rain Comes Down Hard. Or that would just be like, ugh.
Oh, that'd be dope though. That would have been dope. Yeah, that's a great idea. He's like, I'm tired. Open.
The Way I Feel Inside.
I drank 150 bottles of wine.
It's like, what?
It's called Open.
First single off the album, High, which is a dreamy little pop number. And I had a star next to that one. It was one of the few that Donald was cool with on first listening. So if you changed on this one, Donald.
I did actually. I didn't like the whimsy in it.
Yeah?
I like the song. But there's like these like whimsical, like all these little background goofy vocal, like, oh, lost in a bee.
Yeah,
like,
but that's what he's like all about, man. It's like you telling Robert Smith not to make weird noises in the back of the song. That's like...
It takes me out. It literally takes me out of it.
Huh. Okay.
I don't like the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
Like, I like some of the guitar pits, where it's like some of the guitar riffs on it.
Yeah.
Like the da-na-na-na-na, like the little plucky parts I like.
Yeah.
I doubt I'm even referencing the actual song.
I'm sure they go da-na-na-na somewhere in there. Those three notes are somewhere in those.
What I remember of this song, like, there's some parts that took me out of it that I was when on my re-listen today. Like, took me out of it. I don't know. I didn't like it. Like, if they took all the whimsy out of it, like all these little like, and that's what takes me out of like Kiss Me a bit. Like much less. Like I really like that record. Like, but there's.
Do you think it's just lyrically because it's like a happier song than he usually would do? So it's more positive. So it's kind of one of the rare more positive.
It's none of that. Like it can be a song about anything. I just didn't like the execution. Like I could see a song in there, and if I could like take a broom and sweep like 2 layers off of that and just clean it up, I'd be like, all right.
So
that's perfect for me.
If you'd been the producer, you're like, it's not there yet, boys. Keep at it.
Oh, no, I would like, when they weren't looking, I would go and hit like 4 buttons and turn off like 4 tracks before it got mixed down, just like, this isn't in there, this isn't in there, and this isn't in there, and like, this song's great.
Yeah, maybe it could benefit from a little stripping down, but I mean,
right?
I don't know. I like it. I always thought it was cool, and I always think it gets kind of unfairly lumped in with a lot of people like that are super anti like Friday I'm in Love. It's like, and then High, and I'm like, that's not nearly as like
No.
But I mean, even though it's like a positive song when you look at the lyrics, but I mean, it's just so like dreamy feeling to me that it's just, I don't really feel like
I like the dreaminess of it.
there's no way this was going to be like a top 5 pop hit though or anything, It's just kind of perfect cure that way where it's poppy, but it's a cool pop.
Yeah, like it's a fantastic it's a great song. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's really pretty. What do you think about Hi, Chaz?
I love it. I don't know. I think it's a perfect segue from Open into that, where it's like, I think lyrically it's bipolar in the way it's set up, where it's it's kind of desperate to more optimism, and I don't know. I think it's a good 1-2 punch from
I can
Open
see
to
that.
High.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
So it's a
Because it's very pushing. It's a pushing song.
Yeah.
Like it takes you, like the rhythm of it. I'm gonna contradict myself.
Yeah.
I didn't like the rhythm of it, but
Now
I see
you
what
like
you're
the
saying.
rhythm.
Like you swayed me, Chaz. Like because I could see that, like that pulling you along, kind of tension in the song. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Taking you out of that darkness.
I mean, I could see where people would complain, like you were saying, Gavin, about Friday I'm in Love, and then this song, because I'm just sitting here trying to remember the melodies and everything, and you can hear the poppiness in it, but I don't know. I think it's on a whole different level compared to Friday I'm in Love, where
it's not like full on pop.
Yeah.
It's like half
yeah,
pop.
it's not it's not going to be played on the radio.
It's not Friday I'm in Love. It's the second track or some shit, where it'd be like, whoa, this is a little much right now.
First single. Yeah. Wait till we get.
Yeah, they're like, it's like an easing into.
And even though they were kind of anti the video, I felt it really captured I keep saying dreamy, but I feel like the whole album has kind of like a dreamy mood more than, and it's just that kind
Even
of
the artwork
hazy.
is dreamy and cloud.
Yeah. So like, even though it is kind of a goofy video, it's like, it really captured that in the whole album, I thought. Like,
Totally.
and I remember that was one of the ones where I got home and knew that it was going to be debuted on MTV, and I actually held a boombox up to the TV to record the audio from the TV. And I raced to school the next day. I was like, I have the new Cure single, Donald. But sounds like dogs barking in the background and shit. My brother probably talking over it. But wish I still had that tape, but I don't think I do. But yeah, then it gets dark quick. Apart is the next song. Track 3, it takes a drastically dark turn, in my opinion, but I'm all for it. This was one from the last one Donald surprisingly wasn't really that into, and I kind of had a feeling you just couldn't remember what song it was.
Possibly.
Listening back to that one, you're kind of like, I don't know, it's just boring. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, it's just a sad, dark song, but I don't know. I love it. I think it's like definitely touches back to your favorite old era Cure stuff, probably the most of anything on this album.
It's really pretty.
So you're into it now? You got it, or enough?
I wrote down good beat.
Nice.
I really like the beat on it. Like I like the swing of it,
Cool.
and it's. I was appreciating today the kind of like we've been talking about, like just like the song listings, like the order in which they go in. Like this one cuts rhythmically the other two like into another third, kind of like it just swings shit out a bit, like where we haven't heard that yet. Like it's just like a nice swingy song, but it was quick paced, and then like a slightly poppy song, and then this like kind of halftime slow jam. Like I like how it like like just breathes. It just like it takes me back a bit, like, and it's a nice song, and it's just, like it's really pretty. It's a lot of guitars. I would have liked more synths on it, but like
that could have been a very disintegration-y type song, I feel like.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely.
Just swapped that.
And they softened up like the drums. Like I think there was like maybe, I don't know, they softened them up, like because they used like a lot of some brush shit.
Yeah.
Which they've done before, but on this album, and I think like just kind of softened up the harshness.
Yeah,
a
actually, a
bit
lot
with
of the
this song,
drums
you
on
know?
on this album, like you're saying, there's definitely more percussion feel to it, and like just varying it up.
There's a
instead
whole
of,
bongo song.
yeah, so like the whole like it's
know?
definitely not that like Disintegration, even though you know what I mean. That was just very like bam, 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 every like drum beat was. But yeah,
What's up?
yeah, definitely something to that. I agree. I love the whisper track. I still stand by that one. I think I said it in the last episode, but
Yeah.
just having a whole like vocal melody in one voice was just him like saying the same thing but whispering. It must have been so weird when they recorded that in the studio, but like he's like, I won't do it all in a whisper now.
That's the only part I don't like about the song.
Really? You don't like the
Yeah,
whisper?
I don't like that.
Get out of here.
I was listening
Why?
to it today, and I'm just like,
What is he
It's like,
doing?
like, I don't know why he's doing this. Like, it's more than it's more than enough just to have him sing it. I don't know why he needs to talk about it.
It's more than enough.
Yeah. I feel like they've done it on other stuff, and I wasn't as big of a fan of it, but I think it works great for this one because it's such like a.
It's like that Whimsy shit I've been talking about.
I love the
Yeah.
song.
Like, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing that? Like, take that track out. If I could go in and just hit like 3 buttons when they're mixing shit down and just like take tracks out,
Yeah.
like,
Scale it
Chaz,
down.
that would be one you would walk by.
Yeah.
And go, bloop.
I mean, I don't.
Fair enough.
It probably never bothered me until maybe today.
The 5 billionth listen. Yeah, that's kind of how we always are with these two. It's like, I mean, clearly it's not like anything to make me hate the thing. I mean, we've been listening to this forever, but yeah, little things like that come and go over the years, I think.
Absolutely.
Now it's gonna
It's
bother
part of
me
the
forever.
beauty of it. Yeah.
And
You just can't unhear
yeah,
it,
now I
you
can't
know?
unhear it,
Like-
and it's just gonna be there from now on.
Right.
See, and that's listening to something over and over and over again. Because I do that with tons of shit. Like, I'm just like listening to like a jazz thing and like why aren't you hitting like the bell of the cymbal like you did it a minute ago and you stopped. Like, why did you do that? Just tons of things that piss me off like in really good songs. I'm like, why did you stop? Or why did you do that, and why, and like, but that's paying attention to things,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean.
I mean,
So, and that's gonna change because people change, people's changes,
Yeah.
but
Hey, man,
but,
brother.
people's changes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. How do you feel about the he and she kind of narrator thing? I feel like that doesn't happen too often in Robert's lyrics, or it's like where he's kind of saying he did this, she did that, and it's not like first person.
Write a short story, asshole.
Yeah. Oh, you're not.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to get that,
That's-
like,
That's cool because it's like a little different,
do you think it's like firsthand perspective, or it's
Yeah, I mean it could
a
be
story
telling a
still.
story, or like
yeah, totally. It's telling a story.
But yeah, I mean, it could be he's the he and, that kind of thing. But so you think he should have made it more personal or not? You think he's not committing? he's being a wuss. He's not taking it on himself.
Yeah, it's like, don't put this on me, man. I was writing some shit about some
He's
other
like,
people.
it's not me, I promise. It's a friend of mine. Should we move on? This was one that had
yeah.
controversy all over the internet. This one's come up over the years. People like,
Uh-oh.
well, Donald's just known for not liking that piano part of From the Edge of the Deep Green Sea. So track 4, The Edge of the Deep Green Sea, epic song, 6 verses.
That's a lot.
I didn't write down the full running order this time. I think it's like about 10 minutes long. It's a long boy.
it is 7 minutes and 44 seconds according to Wikipedia.
Oh, really? Okay. That's not as long as I thought. I guess,
It could have used 7
What is the
verses.
yeah. Yeah, could have used another. It's shorter than Watching Me Fall then, right, off of Blood Flowers. That thing goes on forever.
Well, doesn't
Like-
Pictures of You go on for like 9 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, I'm surprised that.
But that song's good.
Well, so is this one, Donald.
Yeah, this song rules, man. You're like the only person that doesn't like this song.
I actually like this song, but it's really long.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think that's what's great about it is it's like a long song that never feels long, you know? It's like it never repeats like a ton of shit, you know? Like
because all that tension that it builds with that same note.
yeah. Well, I
Just
mean that's not the
hanging.
song. That's just like one buried like track.
That's all I hear is just that kang kang kang. It's like I get it. And I listen to
I
like
totally forget it's even
nothing
in
but
there,
fucking
but,
like I listen to like fucking jazz and repetitive fucking electronic
so
music.
what's your problem? Why would that bother you?
And I love repetitive things. Like that's my fucking go-to. Like, this shit gives me a fucking boner. But like this is just like stop. Like stop. Like if someone's just ringing your doorbell over and over again while you're doing something for fucking 9 minutes or whatever, it's just like clank.
It's
clank,
only
clank,
7
clank,
minutes and
clank,
44 seconds.
Yeah.
feels like a fucking month.
Casual stroll.
Donald, why do you keep referencing jazz? Look, we know
Because I like jazz. I don't know. It's just what I listen to.
we know
right
you're
now.
cultured and everything.
It's the. I know I'm not doing that. Like, oh, I listen to jazz and classical music.
He's slumming it for
Like,
this
I'm
podcast.
not being a pompous. I'm not being like. I hope I don't come across as some pompous jazz dude. Who's just like,
I only
jazz.
listen to jazz.
No, but I'm a fucking drummer, and I just like fucking noise, and I like. I don't know. Jazz just does some shit.
Well, this song has some great noise in it. There's all kinds of crazy shit going on. That's like that guitar solo.
There's one thing going on over and over again.
Yeah, it's like one track out of like 40
9
tracks on this song. I mean,
I know. I'm not saying the whole album's shit, but this like it ruins this song. I love Robert Smith's guitar solo in this fucking song. Like he fucking shreds.
Yeah.
Like. I like the guitars in the song so much. There's so many things that I like about the song. So, like, this piano bit doesn't ruin it for me.
But
while I like jazz and all.
We get it.
But that fucking one piano note for fucking 7 minutes or whatever, like, it doesn't ruin the whole song for me. But it really just... Again, if I could come...
Just turn that one track off.
A bit. I really like this song. This song's really fucking hit me hard.
Yeah.
When I was like a kid and we saw that shit live, like, that song took me on a fucking journey.
Yeah.
And it still takes me on that journey, but now that piano takes me out of said journey.
Fair enough. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's got great lyrics. I love just the writing approach, where it's not like a verse, chorus kind of song, you know? So
right.
It's like there's so much.
That really introduced me like to that.
That's a
Format,
possibility,
you know?
Yeah,
where you can like drag songs out and like. Probably why I like jazz.
Oh, this turned you on to jazz.
Chaz. But it is like kind of part of that, you know, just like, oh shit, you could do that with music.
Yeah, just a rock song that just doesn't even have a certain point.
I like it.
Yeah, cool. So would you go as I am doing a tally of like plus and minus Donald's current opinion? Would you say this is a plus or minus, or are you kind of halfway on this one?
I feel like Chaz is doing push-ups right now, just listening to me bullshit.
Good.
Just like, you want to go?
Kill this guy.
Do you have what he wrote or what he said before about the song?
He pretty much just ranted about that goddamn piano thing again, like for like 15 minutes.
I just remember getting really angry at his review of this song last time.
Yeah, I didn't get a direct quote other than I think it was
What was the thing that I said that pissed you off the most?
I think it was either this or doing the Unstuck.
Ooh.
So that one's still to come, listeners.
Oh, I know.
Stay tuned. It's like a teaser for the rest of the episode.
I think that the lyrics of the song are some of my favorite that he has ever written.
Me too.
They're pretty.
I think they're heartbreaking, and I don't know. I think they're up on par with just about everything they did on Disintegration, and
for sure.
You know, like Pornography and stuff like that. So, but I completely disagree with everything Donald said. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite songs on the album and one of my favorite songs they've ever done.
Yeah.
So it's
No way,
ever done.
It's one of my favorites. I'm never upset, like even like at a live show that they play it, even though I know it's gonna take a good chunk of the time. Like normally I'll be like, oh man, they could play like two short songs in that period of time. But
you could slap out two
yeah,
bangers.
it's like damn. But I'm still. It's such a good song. Yeah, I never get sick of it.
It was at one point, like multiple points in my young life when this record came out. It was my favorite song.
Yeah. On your own.
Well, I'm like, this is the best thing that's ever.
Yeah. It was going back from that tour book you got when we went to the show. It was the only one there. One of the questions was like, what are your favorite songs from the new album? And like every member was like, this was their favorite song. So
because they shred on it.
Yeah, it's good.
Like the guitar shit on this song is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. They're fucking riffing. And they're all, it's like three guitar players just shredding. Like for the whole fucking 10 minutes.
7 minutes.
And it's but it's great. Like it's
Donald and I are
great.
just gonna like think it's 11 minutes no matter what. I wonder actually if does Perry play the third guitar on this? Because somebody's got to play that keyboard part that you love so much.
Ooh.
So maybe it was just
I know who's hit. They
Robert
probably have
Poro,
like one of those birds you put like some oil and water in, and they dip down every like.
And I'm pretty sure Robert.
they get one of those and it just hits the that one note every.
Ding. Yeah, I mean nowadays they could just like put that into a laptop or some shit. But I'm sure Roger loves just hitting like those two notes like for the whole like.
I hope that wasn't his job.
He's
Man,
like,
we
this
was just
is
like
awesome.
tink, 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 tink.
This is when I'm gonna just size up the crowd. Yeah, I don't know. He probably adds a little extra flair to it. A little ding, 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 ding. But anyway, should we move on? Wendy time. This is probably the closest I'll get to my Donald perspective. I think this is my one I could do without on this album. It's not bad by any means, but I'm still kind of just hung up on that demo version that we heard from Play Out way back, the slower version. I think it's so much better. And
yeah, totally.
And just the wah-wah funkiness of this is like, meh. It works great on the
I
album.
actually
and
picked up my pen to make notes about the fucking wah-wah on this, and I put my pen down because I knew I'd remember it.
Yeah, just kind of goes.
And I knew someone else would bring it up because it's just like, I get it. You have a fucking wah-wah pedal.
Yeah. I remember even on first listening being like little, oh really? I like that one. That was the one from from the pay-per-view special that was a lot cooler in that version. But
yeah, it was really but I felt like listening to like the Lost Wish shit.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those songs where I'm like, why didn't you put one of these fucking
swap it out, you mean?
like cuz there's like some fucking bangers on that shit and like why'd you put Wendy Time?
It made sense that they
like
put like a semi-peppy song in there because when you really look at the full track listing, I've been doing that a lot. I was like, this album could have been like drastically darker if you rearranged a couple things.
Yeah.
Like I usually am not a big fan of, especially of albums I love, like
pull you
rearranging
in,
and
I
everyone's got their theories
Right.
and shit. But yeah, it could have been like super dark in a weird way, you know, if they just kind of
because you're all pulled in with the first like couple songs,
Yeah.
like it really takes you on like a bit of a journey, and that's like.
And it's a cool song, but it just I don't like.
And it's just like, is this the journey? Is this what we're supposed to enjoy? Like, I'm all dramatic now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like.
But that being
like I'm
said,
all
I don't
riled
like
up.
any funky stuff. It's just kind of my thing that I'm not into.
It's a letdown.
I'm not a big funk fan. But what about you, Chaz? Are you down with the wah wah and the funk?
It breaks up the whole album. Like I don't like I don't like it at all. So
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those songs I'm just like skip.
Yeah. And I even feel like even not liking it initially, I even liked it more back then. Like it's one that definitely the stock falls over years, you know? Like I'm like every time I listen to it, I kind of like it a little less, you know? I'm just like, they're never going to dig this up for a show, you know? It's
Yeah.
But it's
It hasn't gotten better with age.
I know it's like when When's the last time we played fucking Wendy Time?
I'm gonna look that
Website
up
that
right
keeps
now.
track. Yeah, I think somebody's got some kind of.
I want to know. Do the math, Chaz.
I'm on it.
We got our tech boy Chaz on the
Like
keys.
CSI. Send out the satellites. Down there, like, what? There's computers that can figure this out. We're still bouncing this on the tape. But yeah, I
Give me
don't
a
know.
minute,
It's
and I'll get back to you.
okay, no worries. We'll babble around it. But yeah, it's a weird tune. I don't know. And I'm not like super anti wah wah pedal because it does work on later songs and stuff. But just in that like full on.
I think it's just fun to play.
Yeah.
It's fun to just like fucking play guitar, get a wah wah pedal, like some distortion, and a little delay, and just like and like it's fun.
Yeah.
It feels and is good. And when you're doing it with a bunch of fucking people and like in a band and like just like we're shredding like idiots. This is great.
Especially
like it
listening
feels
to some
so
of that
fun
music
as
for
a
dream
band,
stuff,
like,
you know, compared to the wah wah shit on that. Then this is like still
yeah,
tame,
it's like some
you know.
yeah, like some precise, well thought out, crafted songs versus just like this is fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like we drank 150 bottles of wine, guys. I got my wah wah
Yeah,
pedal
let's
out.
do a funky version
know?
of it. I'm sure that's totally what it was. Cause
let's do a fucking funky, dumb version of our good song.
Because I mean, it makes sense
And they picked that over a bunch of
to
things.
try another song. Yeah, because the other one was pretty mopey. As much as I love it better, like the demo version of it, you know, it's like kind of just plotting, you know. But like this one really is like snappier in the sense. But
They've only played it 7 times live, according to this.
whoa, like wow. Jeez, even on the
7
whole
times.
Wish tour, huh?
Yeah, 92 was pretty much 1, 2,
Man,
3, 4, 5,
that's
6.
fucking funny.
Yeah, 92 and 91.
Like someone's like I'm dusting off the old wah wah pedal. So
Yeah, I'll have to relook at the set list when we saw them. They probably didn't even play it then. Wow, that's fucking funny. Yeah, not surprised, I guess.
even when they toured for the record, they didn't play it more than 6 times.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, wow.
according to
hilarious.
setlist.fm, the
Okay.
last time they played it
Yeah.
was the Spectrum in Philadelphia in 1992.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice.
And the fucking
Yeah, one of your Philly boys was like, put an end to it, probably.
Went up and broke the
Put
wall.
away the wah-wah, you bum.
like yo fucking cunt, and, like threw a bottle at him.
Yeah, like, wow, shit. Never played that.
Get out of here with that funky shit.
Awesome. Cool, man. Any other thoughts on that one before we move on?
No,
Nah, I'm pretty good
I
on
think we
that
put
one.
a nail on that one. We're good.
Yeah. Never to be heard of again.
Much like the song. We're only going to bring this song up 6 times
Yeah. I want to
in
do
this whole podcast.
I kind of want to do a whole episode on Wendy Time. That'd be great. I want people to like say, "I was there 1 of 7 times when they played it." That'd be great.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, moving on. This is our potential conflict ground here. Doing the unstuck, and
Ooh.
Ding ding.
another poppier one. We're getting super catchy here. I have a feeling where Donald stands, and Chaz is pro doing the unstuck.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of in a weird middle ground as usual. So maybe we'll start with you, Donald. What do you think? I had that you said, oh, this was one you freaked out on too. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
did write down
yeah.
some quotes. He was like, he got all like, you were like, this sounds like they're just fucking around. They're just fucking around. Like he said fucking around like 20 times in a row. And then you went into a semi-crazy rant I wrote down. Where you're talking about, yeah, like people in a boat or something. Oh, no, on a roller coaster. He's like, it's like people on a roller coaster. They're just going up and down, up and down. They're fucking around. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I don't ride roller coasters, but like it's like a fucking roller coaster, like a modern day ride where there's like screens and shit, and everything's like, here you go, dipshits, you're gonna drop down this, woo, and there's like some old miner in the side when you're in the cart, and he's like, there you go, kids, you fucking dipshits. And you like dropped out of the ride. It's like I don't need. But the lyrics, it's the theme of the lyrics with the whole fucking record. Like he's just like telling us shit. He's not like writing a fucking song about it. He's just like telling us crap about his.
I could not disagree with you more. That's like why I cut the episodes at that point too. I was just like, all right, this is like just getting out of control, man.
I pray there's a clip. I pray there's a fucking clip of that. Whilst I hate the narration of what's happening in the song, because that's what I feel like he's doing. Is just like the song's dope. Like they're playing their tits off, and it sounds like it's a nice song. Like, and it's great. Like they're fucking making a big movement with that song, you know, like it's well done, but just like fucking sweep some of the lyrics off and like just shut the fuck up and just like like let me hear the fucking song.
I think it's
just
supposed to be a fun song. I don't even know if it has to be that epic or anything, but it's just a fun song.
But don't tell me, like show don't tell. Like that's a song like that applies to everything. It's like with writing, like fucking literature and like songs and music is like show don't tell.
Yeah.
So do you just want an acoustic track there or what?
Yeah, what?
Like I would take out like 2 or 3 like vocal tracks.
So all the vocals.
Like no, he did like fucking 10, dude. Like I bet. I mean, like just narrow it down a little bit and just like scale it back a bit. Like I don't know. Like it sound like
if you listen to the demo, it's pretty rambly without the vocals. You know, it is.
I like the rambly, you know, but just like cut out like the and like whoa, here we go. I'm getting on the roller coaster.
Here he goes again.
Oh god.
Jesus. What do you think, Chaz? At what level of
I personally like the song because it's not. I don't really see it as whimsical, like something like "Friday I'm in Love" or even "High." It's more straightforward, and I like the lyrics personally. I mean, I understand like the "Let's Get Happy" thing, but do you think that's something that's like lost in translation between something that we would see as stupid and something that like they would see as, I don't know, just appropriate?
That's what I was initially thinking and hoping for, because it almost does seem like that, you know, like, or it's like some kind of even just a phrase or something that I'm not familiar with, you know, or just something, where it means a little something more different, you know, other than just like.
You're reading too much into this.
Well, and maybe just being slightly against that one line in the sense that I knew that like everybody was like super, they're the sad band, and it was like a direct counter to that. But it was like he's usually a little more clever with it than just saying we're not sad, let's get happy. You know, it's like a band direction thing. But
just like lyrically more clever?
Yeah. I just hate that one line. But like Chaz said, even like all the other lyrics are great in the song. I love like the verses and everything. And like you said, the, you know, get up and go is cool. And just that one line kind of bugs me. I mean, not enough to even come near not enjoying the song, but like, you know, I wish they would have just done something else in there. But
you gonna get the whisk broom out and just like
I would just punch in. Mine would be more of like when you're
a Swiffer,
when you're recording with the foot pedal, you just punch in that one line and I'd be like like just
like turn the pedal off. Just like click
and paste like some other line over that real quick. But mine I'd probably get caught doing, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a fun, cool song, and I think it's, you know, well timed on the album at that point. It's a good pick me up one.
It has its moments.
But,
I mean, I just think it's a song about kicking everything out that's bothering you, and you know, fooling around with somebody. I mean,
it doesn't get any sweeter. Well, kind of a good segue into the next song, which could take a similar turn probably. I think one last positive thing to say about doing the Unstuck is that a lot of people don't realize, even when Robert Smith is being pop goofy or whatever, it's still so much like weirder than any like top 40 song you would ever hear on the radio. You know, it's like next song's a great example of that too. Friday I'm in Love, where it's like, oh, crazy, Cure got too poppy, whatever. But it's like, there's no pop songs that sound like that. Like just some of those lyric choices and shit, you know, like he's so weird with that stuff, and he still keeps it very Cure-esque. I mean, even going all the way back to like Love Cats or something, you know, it's like he's been doing that forever, where he was like, yeah, it's a poppy as shit song, but and even, you know, understandably too poppy for a lot of people. All right, maybe cross the line a bit here, but at the same time, you gotta love that it's still a very Cure-esque song, you know. And I think I've ranted about that, and with Friday I'm in Love in particular. But the big single, second single, 18, it reached on the U.S. charts #1 on the modern rock, which I still can't figure out what happened at that point with the charts. Everything got weird. I always thought it was a #2 pop single, but whatever. Somewhere around between 1 and 18. It was a big hit. And
I hear that shit like in grocery stores.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I think
like that pops up every once in a while, and it's like, yo.
And I think that's like a lot of the backlash, you know, is just that it is kind of their out there song, and you know.
But it's a song you can't deny.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, though, like it's just so like perfectly fucking crafted. Like I'm not like, I don't put on Friday I'm in Love.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I want to listen to Cure.
Right.
But when I hear it, I'm like, damn, like these guys are getting it. Like appreciate. Like it's kind of cool. It's like I feel like I appreciate it in a different angle. You know?
Yeah.
Just like a casual listener, because I don't listen to it all the time, and it's just like, damn, like get it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just the fact that this is the same dude that wrote everything on pornography is like, you know, that's like something to admire in itself. Really, it's like, whoa, that came from
like,
the
same
dude.
Every fucking commercial. I should hear this everywhere, because it's just well done. Like
yeah,
there it goes, dude.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge the Cure for that one at all. Like,
yeah,
even though it's not my jam.
Right on. Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people probably feel about it. And like I said, I think the backlash of it is like the bigger negatives of it are that you just hear it too much. Only on Fridays you hear it. Or you hear it like in grocery stores, and people that don't really know the Cure, when you tell them you like them, they're like, oh, the Friday I'm in Love band. And it's a little like, it's not really what they're all about, you know, that kind of thing. And so I think,
but I did love hearing them on like living out kind of in the country, and like the top 40 station.
Oh yeah,
it was terrible, but like every Friday,
yeah,
you'd hear that shit, and it was like, damn, like,
it's like we're representing only on Fridays, but
yeah. But I love that.
But I mean, and yeah, people shouldn't worry that he's like gone too poppy with it, because lyrically he is miserable 6 out of the 7 days of the week, right? So he's still pretty miserable. I mean, there's only one day that he's like happy, a little too happy. So that's gotta be, you know. But you know, still, like I said, there's so many weird lines in that. I mean, when he gets to the bridge and stuff, it's just like, what is he talking about? Like, no other pop star would be like singing about eating in the middle of the night and shit. It's like, what? Okay, cool, woo! Then he's all like, woo, 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 making weird ass noises at the end and shit.
That's what I've been talking about this whole fucking time.
Yeah, but that's great.
It's just like that woo woo woo. Like this song's a perfect example. Like where I'm just like, geesh, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, you would never hear that from like a U2 song from the same era or anything, where it's just like overly goofy, you know? Yeah, I mean, whatever example of like an on par pop band. I mean, and they're probably not even a great example of like somebody that's just like straight up, you know, pop. All they do is go for the big hit, you know? Like, I don't even know around the 90s who that would be, but I don't know.
hit it hard.
Yeah, it's still kind of weird, you know? So Chaz made a good point when we did the Friday I'm in Love episode, and you sent in that segment, and you, what are you sighing about? But you had just mentioned the idea of like, I never even occurred to me the idea of like pulling it off the album, you know, like going back to the idea of maybe revising some stuff. And I can't remember your exact quote, but you're just like, you know, maybe it shouldn't just have been on Wish, but it's a, you know, decent enough song, and you weren't like, you were down with it, right?
Yeah,
but not really Yeah.
That'd be great. Not on this album. That'd be the dopest B-side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, the way I was thinking too
You
is
know?
like, and I can't quite remember if this was a point you were getting at too, but like, and I think just at the point in their career they couldn't really have done it, but it would have been a really rad just single, like Love Cat style, or if they just put it out as
Yeah.
like a one-off single before Wish came
Like,
out.
we made this dope song. He's like, you guys did it.
Yeah. Yeah, you just put like that and Halo as the B-side or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
just be like, oh wow, here's like a super fun one. Then they could have gotten like Disintegration Dark if they wanted on this one, and everybody would have been fine with it. I think it was like,
Yeah.
wow, that Friday I'm in Love band, you know. It's like, yeah, but that was just because it is kind of like it just stands out
I
so
still
much on this
stand by
album.
2016 me on this point.
Yeah.
If I made this point before, like, I still stand by that.
What is
did
it?
you say?
What is that point?
Is that Friday I'm in Love would be a better, like, single and, like, Halo be a B-side, you know?
Yeah, I don't think you said that, but I agree with you.
Oh, I didn't say that. I wish I said that, because I feel that now.
Fair enough.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're on board, though. Yeah, I mean, I think just like logistically, it couldn't have happened. Like after Mixed Up, it looked like they were probably stalling enough as it was before the next record.
Oh, they put out, like,
So
all
then,
those
if they,
other records.
they'd put out like, you know, it had been like 3 years, which was kind of long by their standards, even at that time. You know, if they had put out Mixed Up and then put out Friday I'm in Love and then waited to put out Wish, they would have been like, what's the deal? You can't really stall that long, probably. But yeah, I think it would have been way cooler, like on its own, because it doesn't really fit. I mean, it kind of does, but I don't know. I never really felt like it.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah, you feel like it stands out. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like Wendy Time. It just doesn't. It doesn't fit for opposite
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
'Cause even as Poppy is like doing the Unstuck is, that kind of flows with it, you know. You
Yeah.
can keep that in there, and it's like, yeah, that one's.
I think so.
Okay,
I-
cool. Maybe for the reissue they'll pull it off and then reissue it as a single.
There you go.
Ah! It's just like no, but yeah, I don't know. It's probably their most widely criticized song, though. You think?
Yeah, it's definitely a. It's still a like I said on the other episode. It's like it's definitely a love-hate
Yeah.
song. Like you love it, but you hate to love it too at the same time. It's
Yeah.
weird. But like I was listening to it the other day when I was mowing the lawn, it came up in my shuffle, and I almost skipped over it, and I'm like, I don't know why I hate. Like I was like, I don't know why I hate this song. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I'm like, if like Dishwalla had done this song,
Yeah.
Shut up.
There we
I
go.
was like, do you think anybody would care? It would just be lost, or
Yeah.
would have been the biggest song that year? You know, to me, I think it just would have been lost. Like I don't
Yeah,
think anybody
that's a
would have
good
cared.
point. I feel for as much bitching as everybody gives Friday I'm in Love, they totally make it up with the next two songs on the album too. So I'll take like a super overly poppy Friday I'm in Love any day if you get like Trust and then Letter to Elise like back to back. That's pretty rad, don't you think? I mean, that's a fair trade. Pretty widely loved. Trust. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that they don't like Trust. Chaz,
No,
what do you
I love it.
think? Okay, cool. It's like he's gonna throw off my theory. He's like, it's like really? Oh, okay. But
I've never listened to it.
yeah, I was like, which one's that? Shit. God damn it! But yeah, I love it. I think it was definitely one that I latched onto immediately as a kid, and still hasn't lost any ground. Really, it's a pretty awesome piano part. Fairly like simple still too, not overly elaborate piano part, but like
Really piano. I love
Yeah.
the piano part in this one. It's a really sweet melody. I like it. It lulls me to sleep.
Oh
It's very relaxing.
yeah, it's
I like
great.
it.
And I read somewhere that Perry brought that in, but I can't quite remember
Fuck yeah.
where. Like, can confirm that, but I felt like in one of those old interviews way back when they said that was one that he brought in. But
His time to shine.
yeah, he's like, "I'll go with this
Fuck
one."
yeah.
It's like, yeah, all right.
And he always like live. He had like a multi synth keyboard setup along with his guitar rig.
Yeah, dude.
He was
double
banging out
double
some
duty
shit.
there. So.
He played that one note. That's Perry. That's why Perry's dope. And that's probably why Perry's in the band, because he had to play that one note on edges.
We're going back to that.
See over and over it, like ding, ding, like Perry will do it. Like,
It was like,
I
all
guess
right.
we should just get him in the band.
He's a good sport. He'll do it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I feel like Trust is very reminiscent of Kiss Me. That could have been on Kiss Me. It reminds me of the sad gems on Kiss Me, like 1,000 Hours and One More Time and such. But,
Totally.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to even really talk about that one. It's just pretty rad all the way through, I think. Super great lyrics.
I used to put that on mixtapes for girls when I was a young lad.
Oh, did it?
Like when I was a young dude.
Like, he's so sensitive.
How far did that get you?
No. Like I made the worst mixtapes that anyone like. I'm gonna jump.
It's all jazz. It's like 60 minutes of jazz and then like this song.
But hey, you literally used to put this song on mixtapes for girls. They were like, "What?"
Did you lead off with it? It's like the first track. It's like,
Oh no, that was the ender of
It's
like
like,
a
whoa.
side.
he's singing
would
about
be like the
trust
end-
and shit. Dude.
Like the end of side one,
Yeah.
and then it would go into some like explaining myself. Like this song was really heavy.
She's like, wow, he's so sensitive with emotions.
And
He
she's
acts
just
like a bad
"Probably-"
boy, but he's just packed full of emotions.
But like I have to tell you, put a heavy song like that. This is a heavy song to put
Yeah.
on a mixtape to like. And then the chick is probably just like, and just like.
I'm just looking to have some casual fun, Donald.
And I'm like, no.
I don't
like,
care
you're
if
the
you
only
trust
one.
me or not.
You're the only one.
I'm not gonna marry you.
Yeah, totally.
Whatever. Then segue into Letter to Elise. Perfect. Yeah.
That song's the best.
Yeah, this is another one that I've never heard anybody complain about this song. It's pretty much golden from the first unplugged that we heard it to.
Fuck yeah.
I can't remember if I went through with it or not, but remember because we loved it from that unplugged thing so much that like I raced home seeing that it was on there. I wanted to jump ahead and listen to that song first. I have a feeling I didn't, but can't quite remember if I listened to that song, just that song first, just to make sure they didn't screw it up, you know? And they didn't. You know, it was like a perfectly well recorded.
The unplugged
song.
version was dope.
Yeah. So,
I remember I recorded like this song onto multiple formats, like plugging RCA cables in into like a cassette recorder and like just duplicating it and just like this song was heavy, man. This is one of my favorite ones off the record, I think.
Yeah.
Like it's so sweet and it's more sentimental.
yeah.
I think like that overpowers. Like I don't think it's the best song on the record, but like this song is just so sentimental and like
Yeah.
I tear up listening to this fucker anytime it comes on. You know, not that I put Wish on.
Yeah. Once every 10 years, I cry. Damn, the bad boy's hard.
When I'm not listening to jazz.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's
this
pretty
fucker
lovely.
brings me to
It's
tears
probably-
easy.
Yeah, perfect lyrics. Probably my favorite lyric one. And on this album, anyway. Top 5, maybe even.
You don't think
Of
it's
all Cure songs.
the best song on the album, Donald? Yeah, you
Me?
just said it. You just said it
What?
wasn't the best song on the album.
Yeah. What
No,
would be your choice?
it's not. Like I like one of the slow jams on it a lot more than this one.
We're running out of songs, man. You better.
Shit, or get off the pot. Come on, give.
Because it didn't sound like you're
Wait
really
for
praising
the
too much
ending.
else.
I actually had to check my notes and put like which one's my favorite.
Like shit. Well, maybe I do
I
hate
don't.
all
I
these songs.
legit don't
changing
have
my
a
mind.
favorite one on this. I legit don't have a favorite one on this album. It's
Okay.
weird
Constantly changing.
because there's tons of like records where I'm like, nope, that's my favorite song.
Yeah.
But this one they don't. It's weird.
Yeah, I'd
Because
say
there's tons of Cure
this
records
is probably my
where I'm
favorite.
just like, that's my favorite fucking song. Like, this is this album is, I think it's why I don't have a favorite is because, like, I was like a young dude going through puberty, like, getting this record, and like this is like one of my records. So my first show I saw was like a Wish one. Like, there's just like way too much shit tied into it for me to give it an honest.
You always
fucking
get so
listen.
conflicted about it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's it.
So
It's
you
just
should
like
just
because
trust
like
your instincts and go with it, man. Sounds like you're just challenging yourself on it. Like you don't trust
as one
yourself.
should with anything.
It just sounds
You know
like
what I
you're
mean? Like you should do that with everything that you do.
Yeah, but not to the point where you're just
Challenge
not
your
letting
shit,
yourself enjoy it. I think you're like,
What? Don't tell me how to listen to records, asshole.
therapy now.
I'll listen to records however the
It just
fuck I
seems
want
like
to
you're
listen
fighting
to 'em.
yourself on
And
it
that's
because you
the
clearly
beauty
love
of
the album,
music.
but it's just like you just need to embrace
No,
it.
like this thing's like my partner in life. Like this album, like I grew up with this. It was such a huge, influential, like.
I don't know if that's the
like-
best analogy for.
No, it is.
Every other
Fuck
year,
off,
I
but-
can't stand it. But it's like my partner in life. It's like,
no,
whoa.
you should question
Yeah,
just fucking
yeah.
question everything. Like, don't let just it being sentimental
Well,
influence.
yeah.
If it's a good song or not.
I'm saying
Like,
it in the
sometimes-
reverse. Like you're.
Sometimes this song could I like tons of dumb shit, but it's sentimental to me.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of music. That's what draws a person in.
I guess I'm seeing the flip side though, like where you're
It's the heart of
you're
it.
not letting yourself like it because you're afraid that it's too sentimental. It's like
Nah. Maybe.
Jeez, like it's okay for it to be sentimental and good. Like maybe it was just good timing that you happen to like this album and you're sentimental about it. So I mean, I'm just saying.
like if I get your angle.
Yeah. Anyway,
But-
let's move on.
It's just how it is. It's just how it is with records that you've listened to 1,000 times.
yeah.
Like,
It's good.
like,
Yeah. Like
you're gonna have a different view on shit. Like I used to love these songs. Like listen to them like on headphones, laying in bed, and like just a little dude listening to this mowing lawns. This shit in a Walkman. Like I bought multiple cassettes of this because I fucked them up in like a Walkman with low batteries. Like,
Yeah.
this shit's part of my life.
Well, there you go.
Letter to Elise was ranked according to Pitchfork number 184 out of the top 200 tracks of the 90s.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
184?
Yeah.
That's way
I'm
too
glad
low.
it's on that
Oh, yeah,
list.
definitely
It
way
should
too
be
low.
higher.
Technically, for list standards, it's good that it's even on there, I
Yeah.
guess. But
Some guy at Pitchfork, some intern at Pitchfork was very proud of himself. And he was like, I'm going to slip. Oh, Letter to
like
Lisa.
183 Dishwalla, 184 Letter to Elise. Really? Ah. Oh well. There's like 6 Everclear songs before.
You're an asshole for mentioning this.
There's got to be at least 6 Bush songs on there, and then
Yeah, totally. Glycerine totally knocks it out. Would have been in the top 10. Awesome. So cut. Yeah, the most rockin' number on the album, I believe, is safe to say. What do you guys think? Lots of wah wah going on, but it works on this song. The wah wah is definitely not as bad as on Wendy Time. I think it's a cool riff. You could throw a wah wah on it. Right?
Oh, it's that song?
Yeah.
This one, I actually skipped this one on my list.
What? Really?
This song's stupid. It's silly.
Ding, 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 ding. We have our first contradiction of songs that Donald loved on the last episode and says he hates on this. And if we just got enough bong hits in him, he would start to. But yeah, you were totally down with this one because it rocked, kicked ass, kick ass drums and guitar riffs going everywhere. It's angry.
It just, it was like, yeah.
You weren't into it?
No, it was just like, and I dig it. It is aggressive, and I do like, I do appreciate the guitar
Actually,
work on
no.
it, but just like, but as a song,
Yeah.
it's like not a I don't know, like not a well structured song that I like from The Cure.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, like, but I dig the sounds they make.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean it's a good
But,
track 10.
I don't know.
I'm not
I'm
like
not
crazy
gonna fucking
about it.
put that song on like if I'm like driving to work, and I can listen to like one song on my way to work.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not putting that fucking song on.
Maybe if
like,
you're a
it's
little pissed
fine.
off, you would. It's a good aggressive song. I'm not too big on the angry
It's
Robert
like a boring
vocals. But
scene in a movie.
What?
yeah, it seems like a lot's going
It's
on.
like a
Actually,
boring
nothing
scene.
boring.
It's a boring scene in an okay movie.
It's like at first I was just like, yeah. I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
You're just like, what are you guys doing?
And then there's like this
get back to the
angry ass
fucking
Wawa
plot,
song
like-
going. That doesn't make any sense.
there's like a handful of songs from this record where it's just like it's a bad scene in a good movie.
I don't know. I forget your perspective. Usually I don't agree, but I get where you're coming from. But I think it's just a good rock song, you know? Like they probably.
It's like, why'd you sit on that shot too long when you're watching a movie? It's like this is dragged out. Like,
but it's a short song.
like
It's not that
you
long.
could have summed this up like fucking 10 minutes ago. You know?
There's nothing
That's how
really
Wish feels
like
to
it
me.
on the album. That's why I kind of like it. It's different. It's definitely a lot more like upbeat, but like harder. I mean, it almost like again kind of throws back to like the only other ones that, like he does like especially later Cure. Like I don't like Angry Robert as much. Like all the stuff on the self-titled album, pretty much. I'm just like, just calm down, you know, and like.
See,
but this and like the Kiss and stuff are like few examples of like when I like when he gets pissed off and it's like just a good angry vocal, you know. Even like Give Me It, I don't really not too crazy about that. Yeah, I don't know. So you're kind of like meh with it, Chaz.
Yeah.
Not your favorite, but
Yeah,
Not
it's,
too.
it's all right.
but yeah. Going into the next one's another good down number to Wish Impossible Things. I love this one. I think it's pretty beautiful, heartbreaking song, lovely, dreamy. Again, all those words. But yeah, I think it could definitely throw back to all those previous albums too. Or I could hear versions of this on Kiss Me or Disintegration even, you know. And like,
Yeah.
but I kind of felt like it's definitely his forte, going back to that. But like the idea of it's a great example of how someone like could be speculating wise Robert lyrically of so happily married or whatever. Seems like he's always fairly solid in his relationship, but could write such a heartbreaking song, you know. It's like a great talent that he just has, you know. It's just like, wow, it sounds like shit just fell apart when you hear this song, you know. It's like, how did this like be like come from somebody that's like not going through some crazy shit? So who knows what the story is, but it's a sad song. I love that it's like a part 1 and 2 where it's like starts out nice, second verses it all comes crashing down, you know. But
Lyrics are heavy on this one.
yeah,
Really nice melodies, like interlaced. It's very Disintegration-esque, like you said. Like I think like just like the lyrical melodies and all the different instruments, like they really tie in so sweet.
yeah,
It's a powerful song.
yeah. So you down with this one?
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
songs that could be switched out on Disintegration if it, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's that heavy and that you know, moody that it would have fit perfectly on there as well as this one. So I think it's a
Yeah.
perfect way to bring the album to a close.
Yeah.
You know, coming to end, but yeah, it's definitely definitely one of those songs that, you know, I got to be in the right mood to listen to it. And
Right.
Yeah, because it's a fucker. Like, it'll fuck you
I
up.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah, you're never just throwing this on a spring day when you're driving out. Like, just got out of work.
That's like I was saying earlier. It's like, when's the last time you put on fucking Wish? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
when's the last time you put on this song and just like, it's nice out. I gotta have a gin and tonic and lime and
you know,
put this song on and just fucking relax.
I tend to sprinkle them more on casual listens where I'll make playlists of like sad Cure, happy Cure, and shit like that. You know, where it's like,
I've done that before.
All right. So here we are, the other bookend end. What else could you name this song? But you went on another crazy rant on this one, Donald. It's fucking great.
It's just so fucking. I don't know. I just expected like just a tad more. It's fucking literal as fuck.
Like, you probably wouldn't even know what it meant if he didn't tell you what it meant. Like, it's not literal.
I don't need people to tell me shit. I'll figure it out on my own. Like you make something that makes sense, and I'll figure it out. Like, don't tell me.
But he's
I'll
not
figure
even
it
telling
out.
you. He's only telling you because he read it in an interview and you know what it's about. If you didn't know
I've
that,
read
you
it.
wouldn't
I
know
know
what he's
that's
talking
true.
about.
I've read it like a million things
you
about.
Know what he's... I couldn't quite figure out what bothered you so much other than the name. You were pretty clear on not liking the name, but it's a good way too, because like it was like with every Cure album since whenever, you know, like and it might be the last Cure album, you know. That's pretty epic way to end, you know, like the whole Cure. Even if that would have been the last recorded Cure song on an album, that would have been actually kind of rad, you know. But you know, I'm glad that they didn't stop there. But of course.
The only note I made for this song was clever name.
Yeah. So you liked the name on this one?
Like, that's shit when I was like fucking like 14 or whatever when this record came out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I thought was deep.
Yeah.
But as an adult and learning and knowing things, like, it's like, come on. Like,
But I don't think it's supposed to be deep or anything. It's not like he's like trying to blow your
stupid.
mind.
It's
He's just
stupid.
like, it's
It's
end.
dumb.
And it makes sense. It's like
of course it makes sense because it's fucking simple. Like, I just
But
expect,
I mean, and it makes sense on a billion different levels.
I expected more. Like, just name a song like
Please Stop Loving Me. That'd be the dumbest name ever.
That'd be dope, man. That sounds like a shoegaze band name. Like some indie shoegaze band. Like, Please Stop Loving Me. I'm actually going to do that. My next band is called Please Stop Loving Me.
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
it's kind of dope.
All right.
Like, fucking name it that. Like, fucking. It just seemed a little trite.
Well, I don't know. I think it works good. I
Yeah.
think it works
What do
on
you think,
many
Chaz?
levels.
I think it's a perfect end to the album.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm just saying that to get you angry, Donald.
Yeah, just stoke the fire. I just keep trying to calm him down. I'm like, oh no, let's not do this again. Yes, I agree, but it's just the name. What about the actual song, Donald?
But the name is dumb, and it takes me away from the experience of the album. Where, like, because this album scoops you up in the beginning, you know, like song wise, you know, like it just takes you on a bit of a journey, and he does it lyrically. It's like that roller coaster analogy from the past podcast, but it's like he's taking you on too much. Like, it's too literal.
Yeah. But yeah, you keep saying that.
In
but
songs and in lyrics and just all the nuances, it feels weird. Like don't tell me what journey to go on. Like, you know, and I feel like they're like,
That's the point.
tell me what to
that's
do,
the
Robert.
point of the music.
Yeah.
but right. But still,
yeah, that
like-
was a great
like, I
quote,
think,
actually,
like,
from your past episode. He was like, he's just telling me stuff. Like, it's just all every
He
lyrics.
is.
I was like, well, that's every song. How the fuck do you sing a song without telling you something? And he was like, he's just telling
music is
me
a
things.
fucking. It's a two-way street.
I guess.
No, like
but-
with anything you're gonna experience in life, it's a two-way street. You have something coming at you, and you're coming at something.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, here's my
and-
stretch to get where you're coming
And I feel like
from.
this is this is where the fucking Cure let me down.
Ah.
Like being older and taking the nostalgia out of
this
record.
song.
No, this whole fucking record.
Oh my god.
So now you hate the whole record
I'm taking
again?
the whole thing down. No, I'm not. Like
You said you liked
it's
all the songs except Wendy Time. And cut.
no, there's like fucking 3 good songs in this record to me. Like,
You're back to the other episode right now. You just
I know I
did
am.
total bizarro shift into the exact quote from the other. But I don't know.
I'm just saying this is like I'm too stupid to
I think the bottom line is
express how
our love for
how I
Wish has
actually
made you
feel about
hate
this
it again.
record. Like, I don't have the vocab, but
Well, I almost saw what
this
you're
is-
saying in the sense that like
this record's like leads into like it's the last one. It's the last one for me. Like where I'm just like you guys were a good band.
ooh. So it's gonna get that.
It's hard.
cold. All right.
It is.
Well, I'm looking forward to those
is.
next records, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But
Go Chaz.
I'm gonna
Say
make you love
something.
it.
Oh yeah, those next couple records are going to be nice to hear you commentate on that. Since you've never listened to them, so
Yeah, you like listened to them once the day they came out. That's my goal for the upcoming records. Is if I can just get Donald to admit that at least like 2 of the songs on the album are like awesome, then I'll feel like it's a win. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like N doesn't. It's a great song. It's actually the one I feel like it grew on me the most over the years because I initially was kind of like, all right, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Your fans have gotten a little too crazy, but I couldn't really identify with it as much. And that's where I almost see what you're saying, where it being like too laid out for you, like opens that way you were saying. But I feel like that can like you can identify with that on any level. Like even just a kid being an adolescent at a party, it was the same thing. He's probably singing about like record company parties and shit. Yes, I mean that one's a little more. This one's a little. I've never said to anybody, "Please stop loving me," just because I've never felt that overloved. But I mean, it seems like it's so lyrically based for your hatred of it because you don't like what he's saying. I mean, and coming from a dude that doesn't listen to lyrics or care about lyrics, it's crazy that it does seem that it's like. I mean, if you take the lyrics off this song, it's a pretty rad song, right? You can't deny that. There's like all kinds of cool guitar shit going on, and
Yeah, totally. I like when they played it live to end the show.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I am none of these things. That's such like an epic ending. It's like bang. It's so good.
no, I don't mind it. I just hate the name.
Okay, good. As long as we're back to that.
But the whole album as a thing
but as an album.
is flawed.
Okay.
But I don't mind this song. But it is a flawed album in my eyes.
Okay.
Like,
So yeah, that's I guess the final thoughts kind of idea, and so you feel like that they've lost a step at this point. Backtrack from Disintegration, or do you think it's a tidy end to this era? Because as we all know, it kind of wraps up whether you like it or not. Like Boris and Porl go, and it is an end of an era. Whether you feel like that they just stop at this point or just change gears again, it is like an end for sure.
I see why Boris was like, I'm done.
Yeah, but
Because I think it is a bit of an end of the era, and they did it properly. Like, it's not a bad record. Like, it's really good. But no, it sums it up nicely, I think.
yeah.
Like, I'm not mad at Wish. Like,
Okay.
There's a couple dumb things where I think it could be like just like a stellar record. Especially them getting into guitars, like.
Yeah. Do you think that
But-
they should have rearranged some stuff then, based on the pieces that you've seen and the B-sides and the track orders? I mean,
Yeah,
do you
there's
think
a
it
bunch
was
of
like
jams.
something that could have been changed, or do you think this was the inevitable album that would have just happened? Like, do you think they could have made it more epic? Something we talked about in the last episode, like if they had put in like maybe made it a whole double album, like Kiss
Like-
Me, like where they just put
Or
in those
taking out,
instrumentals
like,
things.
Doing the Unstuck, Friday I'm in Love.
So just
like-
anything poppy, take it out. And then like
Almost like kind of take some of that out, and like some of those jams and those B-sides were dope. Like,
yeah. Right on.
like
Well,
have some moody interludes is something I wish. Like if they're going this theatrical, kind of, like almost a take on Kiss Me, where it's very theatrical and like it could be a fucking play or something, and it would make sense. And it's like tying Disintegration into Kiss Me, kind of that blend that we've been talking about. If they literally did that, where there was like like fucking interludes with some of these jams from their B-sides, like take out the dumb shit, like take out the poppy shit, put some interludes in there, and like this shit would bring you to your knees. Like it would be, you'd be overwhelmed. Like it'd be great.
I mean, I see that, and it probably would have been awesome just because I like that stuff and this stuff. But I mean, it might have been a little bit much at that point in their career too to put out like another
heavy fucking record, right?
Because I mean, like Kiss Me being a double album, then like Disintegration felt like a double album. Yeah, it would have just like
pow pow.
It would have been like fucking Here Comes November Rain, Cure again. It was just like, oh Jesus Christ! It's like I think everybody was kind of on some level happy that they just put out like a nice short whatever, even though it's not short, but like it had its. Here's an album. There's no extra real baggage with it or anything.
Right on, man.
So it could have been overkill just like in their career, but I mean I see it being a rad album for sure.
But they could have.
In this day and age, you could make your own version of it. Why not? But what about you, Chaz? Do you think it was a nice fit for that grouping with Boris? And
I mean,
any final thoughts?
Yeah, like I said earlier in the episode, I think it blends perfectly into the continuation from you go back to Head on the Door to Kiss Me to Disintegration to this. That's a solid, amazing block of music. And I think I'm sure you can nitpick on every album, of stuff that shouldn't have been on there, stuff that should be on.
That's what we do.
Yeah, like
shut the fuck up, Chaz.
I have no idea why Halo didn't make it on this album. Like that's the one song I'm just like, I can't believe that wasn't on here.
That's the dreamiest of all dreamy. Yeah. Like, and they're going for that, like, kind of dreamy, like, in their art.
And even Twilight Garden, like really. That one's so good, too. But
it's so, like, right, I agree.
Yeah, if they were taking Wendy time off and throwing that on there.
Put Halo on that shit. Halo's a fucking jam.
I think we're talking about, like, one of their best albums if you just flip those two songs. So
just those two.
Yeah, just those
no
two.
Others.
I mean,
because even just throwing another overly poppy, cool song like Halo in the place of Wendy Time, it kind of gives it more of a good pop balance.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people kind of unfairly always just assume this album was too happy-go-lucky poppy, and like it isn't
like
really.
Coming off a fucking Disintegration.
Yeah, that's I mean,
like
just because
the heaviest of heavies, and you come in with some dreamy, like, no, we're in the clouds now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's just because of Friday I'm in Love and doing the Unstuck. So, I mean, it's like you might as well go the full 9 yards with it and throw like fucking Halo in there too, and make it like just not like sappy poppy, but I mean, just make it a solid, like, more Head on the Door-esque in that aspect too. You
gotta ease a mother-fucker into some shit.
Well, I mean, they're not gonna write.
Just coming in hard with some pop jams.
They're not gonna write Disintegration, 2.0. That would have been a. Right. I mean, they did bad enough with Bloodflowers.
Ooh.
And it just didn't work in my opinion. And I know that there's some people that like Bloodflowers, but I don't think it worked very well. And I don't think if you're gonna
get you back for that one, you guys can. I'm not even huge on it, but I'll defend it a bit more than
you're
you
not
guys,
even
probably.
gonna be on the Bloodflowers podcast.
Yeah, you guys.
Gavin. It's just me, Chaz, and I shitting on it
all over the whole thing. Like, oh come on,
but
bad.
See how you like it, asshole.
No.
I think they would have made a huge mistake if they would have tried to write, Disintegration all over again.
Totally.
And I think the next logical step to what they did is either you go darker or you go, more poppy. And
the other side,
or at least cut the difference.
Yeah.
Going back to what we said about like a trimmed down Kiss Me, because this actually would have been like the same deal if this had come out like right after Kiss
yeah.
Me, it would have been a little like, ugh, more of the same.
Yeah.
Record companies would have loved it. This was what they were hoping for when they put out Disintegration initially, I think.
Oh yeah.
Till it sold like billions or whatever. But yeah, I totally see what you mean. Where it's like you can't just, and he's like the master of not like giving them what they want anyway. So you know, it's gonna be. Yeah,
I mean, and they probably spent like fucking like $1 million plus. Like they're renting out a manor. Like they were fucking like the label was putting out mad money on making this.
Yeah,
and it's like that sense of humor with the Cure, you know, that I always like. It makes me giggle, you know, when they're just like, oh, you're gonna pay all this money for us to drink 150 bottles of wine and like Friday I'm in Love.
Yeah.
And just like, just goofing,
with,
you know,
with
like
any other band, it becomes Spinal Tap like real quick, you know. But like, they actually are able to pull it all together and make a good album out of it. But yeah, maybe some quick tour notes before we wrap up. It's fairly not that much to ramble on about, like the tour that followed April to December before they even knew if the album was gonna do good or not. I think they booked all that, so they just knew it was like gonna be the whole rest of the fucking year. Yeah, and even in a later interview with Robert, because he always talked pretty highly of Wish until like I think it was around a 2004 interview, he kind of even said that just knowing that they were going to be on the road that long and just this was the first time he felt like maybe he was going through the motions with Wish and stuff, and that's why it wasn't like as epic as it could have been, or you know, so it kind of powers a little bit what you're saying. But anyway, a 6-month tour, pretty much nonstop with the Cranes, who Donald liked a lot, but I wasn't too fond of. Still not really crazy about, but cool band.
There's actually like a couple Cranes EPs, like that I've gotten into. Like I've gotten back into the Cranes. I haven't listened to them for like 20 fucking years or some shit. But like I was like, what about the Cranes? Yeah. And listen back, and there's like a couple EPs that fucking slay, man. It's just like gnarly. Like it sounds like a drum machine, but it's a drummer. And
yeah, I'm not sure how long they hung around.
They sound alright, man. That chick's voice is intense.
Yeah.
Like, don't sleep on the Cranes, motherfuckers. Like that was a good opening band, man.
Yeah. And apparently they had like tons of fun with them. They were just like goofing around all the way and got along with them great. Yeah, around November, apparently, I wasn't aware of this at the time, but like Simon was going through some shit and had like a pretty bad breakdown in November, which was at the end of this whole mess, and basically had to fly home and miss out on the last like month, I think, of touring. I don't know if he officially came back, but they actually had a replacement bassist for the last few shows. This dude, Robert Suave, who I think refers back to...
That sounds like such a made-up
probably
name.
mispronouncing. Yeah,
like it's
probably,
Robert, but it's like a suave Robert.
Yeah, probably mispronouncing it, but that's but yeah, it'd be interesting to find some bootlegs of that or something. But not sure if he made it back in time to finish it up. But we all know it worked out okay in the end, and sad to know that Simon was having a rough time by the end of that tour. So I think that probably had a lot to do with like the crazy downtime that was about to happen with like Pearl leaving, Boris is out, Simon had some issues, so he probably needed a long overdue break at that point. So there's pretty much no band.
July
4th
of that tour, they played with Dinosaur Jr. And yeah.
That would have been the best show.
That's like one of my Time Machine shows. That I
totally
would go back and see.
Where was it at?
It was in
just one off?
San Jose.
Yeah.
So
was it just the one show?
I don't know. To tell you the truth, all I know is that that's the only flyer I've seen for that. It was the Cure, Dinosaur Jr., and the Cranes.
Damn. Yeah. So, that would have been rad.
Yeah. That would have been so loud.
That's mad.
So yeah, what do you think, guys? Wish, moving on into the darkness, and
I think it's part of that whole like just being kind of like in the age range that we are, like nostalgia. Like if you take that out of Wish, like it's for me, it's not a fantastic record. Like there's some jams on it, but take the nostalgia out of it, Like, I think it changes things.
I don't think so, but we agree to disagree.
I feel like nostalgia is like bonus points for me, where I feel like I'm not like blinded by it, or I'm like, I love this, I loved it back then, but at the same time, it's like, oh, and it reminds me of this, and that's sweet, and you know what I mean? So it's kind of like extra bonus points on top of an already,
like,
solid record.
Like, to contradict myself and add to your point, like, I love Phil Collins.
Oh my God.
So fucking much, and it's all based off of nostalgia. I love his drum fills. I love his drumming. I love his stupid fucking like Motown throwbacks. Like, I love the fuck out of him, and it's all nostalgia.
Do you think that's why Perry painted the new hairdo on him on the mural to go full circle?
Yes, totally.
Awesome. We'll end on that note. We'll let Donald fade into the air tonight in nostalgia.
Hey, Donald, to quote Sing Street, no woman can truly love a man who listens to Phil Collins.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. I think we captured the essence of Wish for now. We'll revisit again in 2 years and see if Donald's opinions at least have changed. Fair enough?
Thank you, Chaz.
No problem.
For doing
thanks so much for partaking in this.
It was fun.
With us.
I've been looking forward to this so much. It was so dope.
All right. For the Holy Hour, I'm Gavin. And Donald is Donald.
I'm not going to howl.
And Chaz is Chaz.
I'm not going to. I'm not.
Thank you, and talk hard.
Talk hard.
All right, there you have it. Wish from 1992 to 2016 to again in 2018. Here we are. It just proves it's an album we're going to keep talking about for a while. So I can't thank you enough, Chaz, for joining Donald and I. Thank you, Donald. Thank you, Chaz. If Chaz sounded familiar, it's because he's the mastermind behind 17 Seconds Shirts. 17secondshirts.bigcartel.com is where you can find some amazing t-shirts, Cure related, I must add. So go check those out. You can also find those at remixgifts.com. And be sure to subscribe to the Holy Hour podcast at iTunes, and drop me an email at gavinconner.com, and follow the Facebook page. We got one of those, as well as an Instagram. But we all better go rest up, in the immortal words of Robert Smith.
Okay.